It's called sinister. Look it up. Synonym for it is sinister. Right is adroit, positive, and stuff like that. So we have a cultural bias on joining our brain together. But everyone I've studied, Darwin was riding in a carriage. He had spent all his life trying to figure out what was this thing he was studying. What was the model? And he was riding in the carriage and he said, I had it, I knew in an instant that the model for evolution was the branching of the tree. And he can say in great detail, he says, I remember everything about the qualities of temperature, of light, and everything, that moment of enlightenment that he had was the most powerful moment. And what happened is that we ride in the carriage. We walk. We do these things because we have to go through what is, that you ask questions, you go try to find it from authorities, that's saturation, but you'll never find your real answers that way. You have to be going to sleep. You have to shut down. You have to shut down the left brain in order to have your body holistically or universally, it can deal with all kinds of things and pop it out. And when you're mostly in that is when you're driving a car. Think about this brain right here. When you're in this brain, you want an accountant that's really good with this because everything has to lay out there. Logical, mathematical, all that kind of stuff, right? So you want an accountant. In this brain, when you're driving a car, you don't want an accountant. You don't want to be going around the van and saying, well, there's a car about 300 yards in front of me going about 45 miles an hour, and I'm going at 43 miles an hour and somewhere. By the time you think that all out, you ran over the kid that just ran out in front of you. So what happens is, and y'all all know somebody, or you might have done where you've driven somewhere and you didn't even remember driving there. People say, oh, that must have been really dangerous. You're the safest driver on the road. You were the most aware person on that road. And a lot of people, again, even the guy named Clark, I think therefore I am, separation of mind and body. He said that, and all that calculus that he came up with, he said, an angel of God appeared to him and told him he could understand the mind of God through that. See, so all of this stuff is still something that so when we're teaching, we've got to give space for that, and we don't do that. And I asked my college students to show you the thing of this testing. I asked my college students, if I were to go back, then I'll ask you, if I go back to where you were in college, and I had random tests that you took, and I gave it to you right now, what's the one thing you can guarantee that I'll get on? And it might not be your favorite subject, but all of them said they would flop. They would flop. I said, did you ever ask yourself the question, what did you learn? And they all said, well, I didn't learn anything. I said, no, you did. You learn two very important things. You learn how to develop your short-term memory, and you learn how to regurgitate information. But remember, the word of regurgitation means to puke out, and you puke to get rid of. You don't teach by having tests. And that's why art in your classroom, no matter what subject you teach, is essential. Thank you very much. I'll go over to community studies, and by the way, you can have some brochures still left on the back. There. That's where art teaches all the subjects. And remember, science is art. We call it, where you get your PhD in science. It's the art. Art. And Einstein said, he did all that stuff I was telling you. Einstein came up with the special theory of relativity, who I think is the greatest artist of the 20th century, personally, because he changed certain concepts and ideas that most people haven't even gotten to yet. It changed forever how we use the entire universe. That's powerful art. However, he said, I knew the answer first in my body. And it took him 2 weeks to translate that to the special theory of relativity. But he knew it intrinsically, he knew it inside of him. There wasn't some kind of poofy stuff, you know. Well, actually, he did. That's, well, since I said that, I was going to tell you. What he used to do is take long walks in the woods to imagine what would a wave or particle look like, because that was a big question in science, and by the way, in art at that time. Because art follows, both of those are dealing with what's happening culturally at the time. And if you actually look at the history of art, you'll find that it's asking the same questions that science is asking. What is life? And what does it mean? How do we perceive it? And so he would play with those ideas, making relaxing, making long walks in the woods. And then they took away the creative and critical thinking process. But it's very important to understand it, that it's based on wonder. And what you do is you ask questions. You do not edit. And it's called brainstorming in science, in business and stuff. You just throw out answers. And then what you do is you start to edit them down. So you're using two sides of your brain. You know, to find the first one, you ask the question. It's based on wonder. So it really comes from your right brain. I wonder. And then you ask the question comes from your left brain. And then what it is it's playing around with that. The throwing out of ideas comes from the right brain, which controls the left side. Now notice we don't like that. Because you notice what left is, right? It's bad. The left-handed complement is bad.